All right, all right. What's going on, everyone? Hello to everyone in the chat. Shout out to everyone watching on Rockfin and Twitter and Twitch as well. We're going to talk about this Build Back Better bill that Joe Biden has, because over the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of people talk about this bill, question this bill, wondering what is even in it anymore? What's still in it? And at this point, is it even worth it? Welcome to the Sabby Sabs Show. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. For those of you who don't know, Sabby Sabs is a part of the Hampton Leftists Network. You can catch me here on Thursdays for the Roundtable and Fridays for the Sabby Sabs Show. And you can catch me on my channel pretty much every weeknight except for Thursday. All right, what's going on, Indy Left? Always a pleasure to see you here in the chat. What's going on, Kill Jones? He says, is Biden even still alive? Ouch, 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 ouch. What's going on, Eric Thomas? He says, hey, oh, I hit the wrong one. Where'd it go? Yep, he says, build back BS. Yeah, man. We're going to get into it tonight because I'm so disappointed by all this. So disappointed. So let me start off by sharing my screen, because the first thing I want to show you is the bill summary, because I think people need to see this. As I mentioned, I've heard a lot of people saying that they don't even know what's in this bill anymore. They don't even know because so much has happened, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I want to show you this. All right, so Vox put this out, and I think this is really important. It says, what's in and what is out? Biden's latest spending proposal. Now, this was published yesterday. So here we go. They actually put a chart here that I think is really helpful for people. I'm going to make my screen just a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. All right, so let's go ahead and walk through this, shall we? Oh, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Hold on. Oh, no, that happened. Let's do this again. Screen share. Thought I hit the article. Where is the, here we go. All right. Party foul. Okay, so looking at this chart, this is what is currently still a part of the bill. Climate crisis is $555 billion. I still don't think that's enough. Child care and universal preschool, $400 billion, also not enough. Expanded child and earned income tax credits, $200 billion. Medicaid and Affordable Care Act subsidy expansion, $130 billion. Medicare hearing benefit, $35 billion. In-home care access, $150 billion. Affordable housing, $150 billion. Worker training and higher education, $40 billion. And this one here is questionable. It says other spending, $90 billion. I don't know what the other is. Somebody tell me the other. But what have they taken from this bill? I'm going to go ahead and show you the things that have been removed. So let me scooch down to that. What the White House framework has cut. Paid family leave. This one is incredibly disappointing. It's 2021, and we still can't guarantee paid family leave to everyone in this country. This is a problem. A lot of countries have this, you guys. So essentially, if you don't have paid family leave, that means that if you take off time, you're not paid for it. And that's a problem. We need to guarantee that for everybody. Now, in my state, in Massachusetts, they actually have done this. I think it started this year, actually. But everybody in the country should have this. This is a no-brainer. So it says that a longtime Democratic priority, paid family leave, was cut due to Manchin's concerns that such programs are overly burdensome for businesses. You know what else is overly burdensome? Having to take off time from work to spend time with your family, and you're not paid for it. That's burdensome on the people. Biden's original proposal would have guaranteed 12 weeks of paid parental and sick leave that enable people to care for a new child or a sick family member. Now, let me tell you something about this, because I found out recently that even though my employer offers parental leave, it's unpaid. And I found this out from a coworker. So what she had to do was that she had to save up all of her sick time and use that, and her vacation time, and use that for her leave. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And she's from England, and in her country, women get at least 9 months paid maternity leave. It's just ridiculous. Yes, super patriot. Let's go, Brandon. Exactly. Exactly. What else has been removed from this bill? Medicare negotiation of drug prices. This is huge. This is problematic. Democrats have scrapped a plan to force drug makers to negotiate drug prices with Medicare based on the lower prices other wealthy nations pay. That prescription drug reform was supposed to generate up to $700 billion in savings to pay for other healthcare proposals. So this is a problem. We still have not cut prescription drug prices in this country. And if you talk to people who have to use insulin, this is very problematic for them. I didn't even realize how expensive insulin was until probably about 2 years ago, when a friend of mine told me how much they have to pay for insulin in this country. And this is why sometimes people who are retired and they're living on a fixed income may have to ration their meds. No one should have to ration their meds in the wealthiest country in the world. What else has been removed? Expanded Medicare coverage of dental and vision. Now, I can't tell you much about vision, but I can tell you a lot about dental. There are companies in the United States that, for whatever reason, they do not feel that you need to have dental benefits. They don't feel it's as important. So you may work for a company and they may have health insurance, but you don't have any dental insurance. It is very important that you take care of your teeth. If you do not take care of your teeth and you end up with a bacterial infection, and this does happen, that can actually affect the rest of your body. That can affect your heart. You can physically become ill because of an infection in your mouth, because of your teeth. So dental is just as important as health insurance. So this is a problem. What else have they taken away? Free community college. This proposal would have helped reach students in places that don't already provide this service. Access to free community college has been found to increase both students' likelihood of attending four-year institutions and higher education, and that is true. As someone who works in higher ed, I can tell you it's actually pretty common for students to go to community college for the first 2 years and then transfer to a university. And that's important because then you don't end up with a lot of student loan debt. So the fact that that was cut is just ridiculous. It sucks, and it screws young people over once again. Increases to the top corporate tax rate. One of the main revenue raisers Democrats initially suggested was increasing the corporate tax rate from 21% to 26.5%, a proposal opposed by Sinema. In lieu of implementing this policy, Biden's framework includes other changes to the tax code, including a new corporate minimum tax rate, a tax on stock buybacks, and a new surtax on millionaires and billionaires. Let me pop out. Because you see, once again, Democrats, and they like to say this about Republicans, but we need to say this about Democrats as well. Democrats are protecting corporations. At this point, this bill is not worth it. And I know that might be hard for people to take, but I'm just being honest with you. This is another example of them giving us crumbs and not giving us the full package, not giving us a full meal. So this is a problem. And if they settle for this and say, okay, let's do this, this is good enough. Guys, we're talking like this has gone from 10 trillion, 6 trillion, 3.5 trillion, and now we are down to 1.75 trillion. giving us crumbs. And that's if they even come to an agreement on what's left in the bill. Natalie is right. Red or blue, they both screw you. 100%. 100%. Because see, when Trump was in office and when Trump decided that, Amazon, they're not going to pay any taxes. Netflix, you're not going to pay any taxes. Democrats were at outrage. Remember? Kamala Harris, when she was running for president, during her town hall, she said they're going to have to give that money back. Oh, I remember. But now we have Democrats doing the same thing. So what is the difference? Nothing. It's different when it is your party. And that's the problem that we have in this country. This is why I tell you guys the two-party system is problematic and it has to go. They both serve corporations. They both serve corporate interests. They do not serve the American people. I want to show you a video because Miss Pramila Jayapal had an interview about this. Let me cue up my screen. She had some things to say. And she looks really nervous in this video. I wonder why. But here we go. Hope there's not an ad. Hold on one second. I'll let this ad play. But this is one of those things where, I have friends of mine right now that are already saying on Facebook, they're like, man, Joe Biden was a bad choice. I told you. They're like, man, nothing has really changed. We told you that nothing would change. Joe Biden told you that nothing would change. Remember? He said nothing would fundamentally change. Let me go back to my video.
And a lot of the negotiating is on that top line number.
Oh, you guys say you can't hear. That's weird. Let me see. It's playing on my end. That is strange. Hold on one second. Maybe because I'm not in the same browser. Doo-doo-doo. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you go live sometimes. All right, let me try it again. Let me stop sharing.
There is a lot of focus and a lot of the negotiating is on that top line number. For example, is 2 trillion, 2.1 trillion your absolute floor?
We're not thinking about the number. And the president said this to us too. He said, don't start with the number. Start with what you're for, and that's what he's asked them for. and then let's come to the number from there. So that's how we're thinking about it.
And that makes sense. But you have been looking at this for a long time. You have been looking at the policies and what it adds up to and how you can do it. I mean, this is what your focus has been almost solely.
Yeah.
So I'm sure have looked at whether or not you can do what you want to do for $2 trillion.
Well, we don't know what the number is yet. There's no number on the table yet that is everyone has agreed to. It's not like they've come to us and said, I don't feel the need to give a number because I gave my number. It was 3.5. So if you're in a negotiation, you need to have a counteroffer before you bid against yourself.
So if we're not looking at numbers, what about 1.5, like what Senator
Well,
Manchin
that's not
wants?
going to happen.
But
So
why
it's
is
going to
that-
be somewhere.
Why won't it add up to that
Because
number?
that's too small to get our priorities in. So it's going to be somewhere, between 1.5 and 3.5. And I think the White House is working on that right now because remember, what we want to deliver is childcare, paid leave, climate change.
And I want to get to that, but
housing.
so 1.5 is too small, but you won't say if 2 trillion is too small.
Because I don't have a definite number yet. I mean, I don't have a counteroffer.
Okay.
It would be like buying a house, Dana, and going in to make an offer, and then somebody says, well, what's the lowest number you would take? Why would I do that?
She doesn't even have a number, you guys. She doesn't even have a number. She compared this to buying a house. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry. You can't keep defending progressives for this. This is absolutely embarrassing. Western has a good point. Nope, that doesn't equate. No, it's not. This is not the same thing. You're not buying a house. The American people need health care. They need child care. We need free community college. College has become astronomically expensive, you guys. I know, I see it all the time. People don't want to take out student loans because they don't want so much student loan debt. Gray said she compared it to gambling. So there you go. It's embarrassing. I don't know the number. I don't really want to give the number. I don't know. Why are you in this interview? Why? I stand by what I said. I think they need to scrap this bill. It's embarrassing. It is really embarrassing. And I want to say this, that it's not just Joe Manchin and Sinema. Progressives are just as much responsible for this as well. So for all the people who are saying, oh, it's because of those two people, no, it's not just because of those two people. Let me make something very clear here. Do you guys actually think the Democratic Party had any intention of passing this bill? The original one, not the one that we have right now, where all this stuff has been removed. Socialist MMA is in the house. Yep, this bill is complete shit. Scrap it. It's terrible. It's terrible. There's no reason to even keep it at this point. There's no reason. And it's always someone else's fault. It's like what Glenn Greenwald said. It's always the rotating villain. It's Joe Manchin. It's Sinema. It's the Republicans. I just watched a whole interview of Noam Chomsky recently saying, well, the right-wing Republicans, they're the problem because they have corporate interests. So do Democrats. It's not just Republicans. This is just theater, and it is embarrassing. Nobody wants an encore for this show. No one. Thank you, Andrew, for the super chat. The fact that the squad doesn't talk about the corporate handouts, military spending in the bill, that doesn't need to be there, shows they don't care. Exactly. And what's the other? Like, I showed you guys that chart. It said 90 billion other. What other? For $90 billion, you need to write that shit out. I can't. I can't. Death Leopards is right. This bill is performative. When it passes, they can say they did something for us, even though it does jack shit. And that's 100% true. Same thing with that American Rescue Plan. It was a joke. I didn't think that was progressive either. You kidding me? We're in the middle of a pandemic. All these people have lost their jobs. People can't pay their rent. And they give us crumbs and say, this is so progressive, just like FDR's New Deal. No, it's not. And it's really frustrating when you have other progressives who are supposed to be in there to fight for us go along with that rhetoric. When you see AOC on CNN saying Joe Biden is doing progressive things. No, he's not. You know what would be considered progressive for Joe Biden? Decriminalizing marijuana. He can do that. Eliminating student loan debt. He can do that. Some of these things are things that he can do by executive order. Joe Biden doesn't even want to stop fracking. So get out of here. He says he cares about the climate and the environment. Then why are you giving more money to the military? The military is the largest polluter in the world. I want to show you something else. Because we have journalists out here who are now trying to say that Joe Biden is progressive. Kid you not. Check this out. Now, this is from The Atlantic. Welcome to the new progressive era. Progressives thought they knew what a Biden presidency would look like. How did they get him so wrong? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Listen to this. People like to tell you they saw things coming. But as I talked to many of the campers in Joe Biden's big tent, particularly those who, like me, were skeptical of Biden, I found that overwhelmingly sentiment was surprise. Few of us expected that this president, given his record, a knife's edge Congress, and a crisis that makes it hard to look an inch beyond one's nose, would begin to be talked about as potentially transformational. He hasn't transformed anything. This article was written April 2021. Keep in mind, he had only been in office 3 months, and they were already calling him progressive. He hasn't done anything. Going down. After all, Biden was a conservative Democrat. What the hell is a conservative Democrat? Who has excluded personal decency more than he has pushed for structural decency. Let's go down. He began his 2020 campaign telling wealthy donors that in his vision, nobody has to be punished. No one's standard of living will change. Nothing would fundamentally change. And it hasn't. It hasn't. People, wake up. Is your life any better under Joe Biden's presidency? Mine isn't. And for some people, it's worse. Let's be real here. Going down. Biden sold the country on a massive rescue package. It was not massive. Sanders has called it the single most significant piece of legislation for working class people that has been passed since the 1960s. That's coming from Bernie Sanders, who actually should be there fighting for us right now instead of kissing up to Joe Biden, instead of making excuses for Joe Biden, instead of going on to TV shows and to news outlets saying that Joe Biden's doing a great job. Even Bernie Sanders has sold us out. Bernie knows this is BS. Give me a break. This isn't anywhere near half what we wanted. Listen to this. It remains to be seen if this momentum will continue, if the infrastructure plan musters the votes, if the ungainly Sanders to Manchin coalition holds. Again, the rotating villain. They're telling you right here in this article that if this doesn't work out, these are going to be the people to blame. Not Joe Biden, right? not considering the things that he can do as a part of executive order. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me pop out. Because a couple of people on Twitter had some things to say about this as well. And I want to shout them out. You got to see these tweets. First and foremost, let's start off with JB. JB was keeping it real. JB said, make this a little bit bigger. If you vote for this weak ass bill in its current state, then that tells us one of two things. Either one, you're just as much as an incrementalist as your predecessor. So why do we even have you? Jamal Bowman. Two, you're too much of a coward to hold the line, make demands, and stick to them. Shout out to JB. I have another one, and this one's from Nico. This one's funny. So Emma Vigilant, let me show you her tweet first. So Emma Vigilant said, the paid leave news has left me almost speechless with rage. All I'll say for now is Biden botched this in two ways. One, by waiting and not riding the momentum of the early 2021 stimulus. And two, not getting ahead of Sinema and Manchin's predictable villainy with messaging pressure. Again, she's blaming the rotating villains here. Got to blame somebody else, anybody but the progressives who were there. Can't blame them. Nico responded to this and said, LOL, it's cute that she's still trying to pretend Biden actually wants anything good for us and that Democrats aren't doing exactly what Biden wants them to do. She's a WWE commentator at this point. Shout out to Nico. Gary said, Batman on Biden, it's not what you say, but what you do that defines you. Guys, you're funny in the chat. You are funny in the chat. Greg says, Emma Vigilant is an Elizabeth Warren Republican. Oh, ouch. Ouch. This is brutal. I have another one for you. This one's from Brianna Joy Gray. Let me share my screen. This is funny. So Bree says, it's a little bit larger than them. It's about the presidency. The them. So here's the them. Student debt relief, free 4-year public college, free community college, increase in the federal minimum wage from $7.25 an hour, public option, eviction moratorium, paid family leave, marijuana decriminalization. This is a no-brainer, you guys. This is a no-brainer. And that was in response to this. And I want to play this clip here. Let me mute my mic so I don't have an echo.
The fact that former President Obama is putting out a statement about this, and he's basically saying, look, this could be transformational. This is a really big deal. There's a lot in that bill. Right. He's also in that statement saying, suck it up, get on board. Who is that for, do you think? Do you think that is for progressives?
I think
is that for disgruntled voters?
I think he's talking to progressives because, you know, the progressives are the ones right now who believe that Manchin and Sinema have been driving this train, and they're upset about it. And so is Bernie Sanders upset about it. But in the end, this is a little bit larger than just them. It's about the presidency. It's about the Democrats proving that they can have a governing majority. We all know the margins are really slim and all the rest of it, but they have to prove that they can govern here because the alternative to this bill is nothing. Nothing. And they have to be able to say, okay, we didn't get everything in this, in this bill, but we're going to come back at it and we're going to try and do it that way. But I think what Obama is saying, you have to help out Joe Biden here, right? You have to let him prove that he can lead.
Nothing.
Couple of things about that video. First and foremost, I don't have to help Joe Biden do anything, Obama. We don't have to help him do anything. He is supposed to be helping us, the people. He is a public servant. He's supposed to be helping us. For Obama to sit up there and say, suck it up. First of all, who the hell is Obama to tell the American people to suck it up? Easy to say when you're wealthy. The rest of us don't have a house on Martha's Vineyard. The rest of us don't have a book deal. We don't get speaking fees. Our kids aren't set for life. The rest of us are trying to survive in this shithole of an economy. The rest of us are still trying to crawl out of the crisis that you caused in 2008. It just kills me when people who are privileged, people who are freaking wealthy, are going to try to tell the little people below them that we just need to suck it up and just be all right. That's easy to say when you don't need these things. It's easy to say when you have health insurance. It's easy to say when you can pay for your kids to go to college because you're rich. You go and tell that to the people who need to have dental surgery and they can't because they don't have dental insurance and they can't afford it. Go tell that to the people who don't have health insurance in this country and need to have medical procedures. Tell that to the people who are in medical debt. Tell that to the kids who can't afford to go to college. Because you see, when you were in office, you had an opportunity to help the American people when the 2008 housing crisis started. You decided to bail out Wall Street. It took some of us years to dig ourselves out of that hole. Years. I remember what it was like. I remember graduating from college and not being able to find a job that would pay my rent. I remember working 2 jobs, a full-time job and a part-time job, because there was nothing available. And when you start off low, it is so difficult to move up where you need to be financially. Now, his kids don't have to worry about that. He's rich. I am so sick of Obama. I'm sick of him popping up to try to tell us what to do. You are not president anymore. Go sit back at your house in Martha's Vineyard. Go eat your ice cream, wear your mom jeans, and leave us alone. Every time we try to get progress in this country, he appears and tries to stop it. He did that with defunding the police. He did that with the NBA strike. And now he's trying to do it again with this shitty ass bill. He was never here to help us. Never here to help us. He is a tool of the establishment from day one. And a lot of us fell for it. And I fell for it. But I will not be fooled again. Shout out to Andrew for the super chat. Tell it to the kids taking out student loans and working full time while in school and trying not to fail out, Obama. Yo, I told you guys, I work in higher ed. Tuition is ridiculous right now. No way I'd be able to go to college today. No way. If I was just graduating, are you kidding me? You screwed it up. You had a chance to really help the American people, and you chose to bail out corporations. People have a lot of student loan debt because of decisions that you made in 2008. So you don't get to come and tell us to tough up. You don't get to come and tell us to suck it up. Never had to work hard a day in his life. Please, get out of here. Alex says Obama saved Biden by getting all the other centrists to drop out and endorse him. Everything Biden does is partly Obama's fault. 100%. Because let's be real. What would have happened if Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Beto, I forget who else was in around that time. Actually, Beto, I think, dropped out before those two. I could be wrong. I have to go back and look that up. If they would have stayed in that race, Biden would not have been in first place. And I'll tell you why. When they dropped out, a lot of their support went to Joe Biden. That's why on Super Tuesday, Joe Biden won states that he really should not have won. That Bernie should have easily won. Someone who's not even president in this country anymore could just pick up the phone and make a phone call and say, you guys drop out so Biden can win. That's not democracy. Bee's Knees said, yep, Obama is running our nation and he's selling us out to terrorists. He's behind all of this. And let me tell you something. Recently did a video about Obama, about the speech that he made in New Jersey, bragging about not getting everybody health care, bragging about not giving every child a great education. And I made it very clear to people, that is not something you need to be bragging about. I posted that video on TikTok. I think that video has over 10,000 views. And a lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact that Obama is not who they thought he was. Black people included. And so the Democrats and the Republicans need to really wake up, because the young people today, I can tell you, I work with Gen Z. My students are Gen Z. I can tell you the young people today are not falling for the okie doke. They are less likely to buy into the two-party system. They are more likely to embrace socialism. So the Barack Obama of today is not appealing as he was back then. And people are calling it out. Hashtag shut the fuck up Obama was trending on Twitter. You can't pull the cover over our eyes anymore like you did before. Because see, we're not just watching CNN, MSNBC. We're watching independent media. And you are talking to the internet generation. They are very much engaged on social media. They know they don't have to take your word for it. They can seek out other sources. Shout out to Justin for the super chat. Thank you. The Left Green Coalition in Iceland jailed the bankers back in 2017 when they elected the first Green Prime Minister, Katrin Jakob. I'm not even going to try. Jacobs Dotir? Wow. That's interesting. Thanks so much for the super chat, Justin. Iceland is a great example because Iceland fought for a 4-day work week. And guess what? They got it. They got it. People always laugh at me because I'm like, whoa, it's Friday. I'm so excited. I'm so happy because there are some times working 5 days a week, and I've worked 7 days a week before. But it's like what you have to go through. The commute, the people, the bad food, eating at your desk. Most of the time, like, we don't take lunch breaks really, guys. It is very common in this country for people to eat at their desk. That's actually not healthy. Having someone say to you, can you stay a little bit longer? Can you come in on this weekend? Can you come do this thing? Hells no. Sometimes I just want to turn and look at these people and say, fuck no. It's all of it together. And the reality is, I think we would be more productive if we had a 4-day work week, or at least the option. Someone just said something in the chat, so they know. Prime 54, eating at your desk is almost a staple in higher ed. Yes, it's a problem. A lot of us do it because we have to get through the work. And if we actually take a lunch break, we won't get all the stuff done. I stopped answering emails at my home a while back, and it's one of the best things I've ever done. And I would advise you guys to do the same. Don't look at your work email when you're not at work. If you have your work email on your phone, take it off your phone. It's just not healthy. You should not have to think about work every day. Every day. Meanwhile, you go to Europe, some of the countries there, people take like 2-hour breaks. When they go on vacation, they get like a month. I'm going on vacation. Oh, yeah, cool. How long's your vacation? A month. And then we wonder why they live longer than us. We wonder why they're healthier than us, even though they may smoke and drink, and stress kills people. Serious. It's a problem. E.G. Butler said, rugged capitalism for the masses. It's a problem. I talked about this recently on RT. I was on RT's Crosstalk. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show, but it was kind of cool to have a panel of people that have different political ideologies. So there were conservatives, there was me, like leftists, and there was a libertarian there as well. And at the end of the day, what we all come to realize is, and I said this on the show, the problem is the fact that all of us are being exploited by capitalism in this country. That's the root of all of it. This is why I tell you, it doesn't matter if you put in Joe Biden or Trump. They're going into the two-party system. They're not going to help the people anyway. Those parties were bought and paid for a long time ago. Joe Biden's been a politician for 40 years. What has he done for us? What has he really, really done? And people get mad. People get mad, but I see some of the people that were defending Joe Biden. I just saw this recently when I got home from work on Facebook. Some of my friends from high school are now admitting that Joe Biden isn't helping either. Now they're starting to see. I told them it doesn't matter. Both of them are corrupt. It's a two-party system. Shout out to Danny for the super chat. Do you think Justice Democrat candidate Summer Lee in Pennsylvania will be any different from the squad if she wins? I get demonized? Oh, I get demonized for predicting her eventual flip to the DNC dark side on other channels. Thanks for the super chat, Danny. This is my take on this. And I know some people don't like to hear this, but it is what it is, and I'm going to say it. If you are going in to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, yes, you will be corrupted. It is going to happen. Just as Democrats, I did a show about this maybe 2 months ago. Just as Democrats is taking dark money too. Robbie from MCST, he released that information. And you can say whatever you want about Robbie, but Robbie always has receipts. They're also taking dark money. So this is the problem, guys. This is a serious problem. And I'm not saying that Summer does not have good intentions. She may want to go in and do good things. But the reality is the party is not going to allow you to. And if you try to go against the party, they will push you out, just like they did with Cynthia McKinney, just like they've done with Ralph Nader. Talk to Cynthia McKinney. I did an interview with her recently. And Cynthia McKinney explained to me what happened with her in the Democratic Party. The difference was she was willing to go to the mat. They didn't like that. She was willing to question them about how they spend more money on war. She wanted them to end the wars. She was challenging them on those things. Oh, they do not like that. No, 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 no. So they pushed her out. This is what they do. And I'm going to tell you right now, AOC, all the rest of them on the squad, if they would go in there and do the things like fight like we thought they were going to, like be like a left Tea Party, they'd push them out too. They'd get someone to primary challenge them. They'd get another progressive to primary challenge them and get them out of that seat. This is why when Cynthia McKinney ran for president, she ran under the Green Party. She knows how it works. She broke all of it down. You can also watch an interview with her on Convo Couch because they talked to her about this as well. That's somebody you really should pay attention to. Look at what they do to you. Look at what they did to Ralph Nader. And we have to go back and we have to think about these things. If Bernie Sanders really wanted to get these things done for us, don't get me wrong, I was pro Bernie. That was my dude. But if he really wanted to get these things done for us, he would have never ran a part of the Democratic Party because he knew they would not allow it to happen. He knows. Shout out to Green Sun Consultants for I think this is a super sticker. Thanks so much. I'm sorry if I'm preaching tonight, but these things need to be said. And I get it. Look, I'm hopeful too sometimes when people come through and they're like, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to do the right thing. I used to interview candidates, you guys. When I started my podcast, I started off interviewing progressive candidates. That's what I did. And the more I did it, I realized the more things change, the more things stay the same. And all of these candidates have good intentions. And they have a lot of great plans, things that they want to get accomplished and they want to implement. The problem is the party that they are going into is going to prevent those things from happening. The only way these things would happen is if they were the majority. And even then, it would be difficult because the government does not run this country. Corporations do. They're the ones that control the country. People with the money. So I say to people, if you are going to donate to electoral politics, to donate to third-party candidates. I'll be bringing more third-party candidates like on my show. So that's something I've been doing I started doing that about a couple weeks ago. Princess Blanding came on, and I'll give you a perfect example. Princess Blanding is running a part of the Liberation Party in Virginia, running for governor in Virginia. Barack Obama goes to Virginia and shouts out Terry McLaughlin, whatever the hell, shouts out Terry, holds a rally for him, the Democrat establishment candidate. I read articles over the past couple of days, didn't even mention her name. They just mentioned Terry and his Republican opponent. So if you were just watching mainstream media, you wouldn't even know about Princess Blanding. Everybody should have had that woman on their platform. Everybody on the left, I'm going to say this again. Everybody on the left should have had her on their platform. B. Kell said they're all in it for themselves. 100%. Gamer for Life said Princess Blanding is great. Yes, she is. She's absolutely awesome. They wouldn't even let her debate, you guys. She met the requirement. She showed up to the debate thing and they told her she couldn't get on the debate stage. They told her, you talk to the press after. What kind of BS is that? So we have to give like those candidates, if you're still into electoral politics, we need to give more attention to those candidates, not another Justice Democrat. Screw that. They can take their dark money and they can promote themselves. Shout out to Harry C. Smith. Panquake and WikiLeaks just released jaw-dropping proof of millions of people put on lists for supporting Julian. I don't even think I can say the last name on here now. There are literally a bunch of psychopaths aiming to censor all speech. Harry, you're 100% correct. This is why independent media is so important. And that is why I get so frustrated this year seeing a lot of these commentators on the left continue to make excuses for the squad and not call them out on this BS. Still trying to get you to vote for Democrats. I don't think third party's going to work. We got to keep putting progressives in. That's how we do it. In the meantime, people are dying because they don't have health insurance. Everybody's supposed to wait, supposed to play this long waiting game. And the people who tell you to do this are wealthy. They don't need these things that the rest of us are fighting for. We got to wake up. So the reality is that we got to call these things out. I don't care if it's your favorite person. No one is above criticism. And I don't care how long they've been doing this. Period. Sorry, I got the period from a Finny. She has me saying that now. But no one. So we have to push them. And I'm talking about the TYTs of the world, Sam Cedar, all of them. They are going to continue to tell you to vote for the Democratic Party. They are paid to do this. They have sponsors. Majority Report is funded by Peacock. Peacock's a part of NBC. Some of these networks that say they are independent are not that independent. Us over here at FHL, we are independent. I don't have nobody in the background. I don't even have a green screen. Every time you see me, you see these brown blinds behind me. My mom said I need to get curtains. We don't have those things. We don't have a sponsorship. We're not in a studio. We have nobody trying to tell us what we have to say, what we can and what we can say, and the narrative that we have to do. That's the difference. Sam says apartment looks fine, Sabby. Oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, my mom's like, girl, if you don't put curtains up behind you, every time I see your podcast, I see those brown blinds. It was one of those things I just never got around to. Like, I have curtains in the living room and in the dining room. I think that's pretty much it. But I just never got around to putting curtains in this room because, this is like an office, but I don't know. I'll figure it out one day. I will figure it out one day. Robert said, yeah, I couldn't believe how much Sam Cedar hates Jimmy Dore. Because he tells the truth. Because he calls things out. Because he says the things that Sam Cedar is not going to say because Sam Cedar is up a peacock's ass. That's why. Steve, Sabby, does your mom like your show? Yeah, she does. Both of my parents actually watch it. It's kind of weird. My mom was actually in the chat one time. That was really weird. I noticed that the name popped up and I was like, oh my gosh, that's my mom. She's in the live chat. So yeah, it's interesting. It's weird when people watch you that you know, and like they'll send you pictures. I've had people, like friends of mine, send me pictures and say, I'm watching you right now. And it's kind of weird. just being honest. But yeah, they do. But yeah, you guys spread this information to your friends and family. And not just FHL. There's a lot of people over on the left doing really good work. People like Franco, Nico, all of them over at MCSE. Slow news day. We just had Glory on here about a week ago. She was on the Gen Z panel. Glory's in college. She knows more about foreign policy than people my age. But people would rather sit there and listen to Brian Seltzer, Stetler, whatever the hell his last name is, on CNN. They'd rather sit there and listen to Joy Reid on MSNBC. People reading a script. We don't have no scripts here. We don't have no scripts on FHL. I just get in front of the camera and talk. I don't have time to write a script anyway. People would rather sit there and listen to those pundits. People who are reading teleprompters that they didn't even write. Preaching the narrative that the network wants them to preach. And I know, guys, I was a broadcast journalism major. I interned at a news studio. I know how it works. You don't get to tell your story. You tell the story they tell you to tell. Same thing when you watch The View. God, please don't ever go to them for political advice. They have a bud in their ear. They have a producer backstage telling them what to say. Odd Kid, Sabby, please consider most folks are not looking for leftist shows on YouTube. They barely turn on the TV and tune out. Yeah, I do understand that. I totally get that. Because when I started watching like independent media on YouTube and I would tell my friends and coworkers about it, they were like, I don't know who those people are you just told me about. I know that. But that's why it's important for us to share that message and to spread that message. I live right here in Massachusetts, where most people here know David Pakman. And let's be real, David Pakman is not left. But he's another one that has sponsorship. I just realized I got 2 minutes left. Damn. Let me get out of here. Hold on. So, yeah, Eric Thomas said most people are sheep. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, this day and age too, it's so important that we have more platforms. There's more platforms coming out too, things that I don't really talk about because it's in the works. So I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, but there's more platforms that are coming out. But I encourage everyone on here, if you're, you know, supporting FHL on YouTube, to also check out FHL on Rockfin as well. Because eventually it's going to get to the point where we can do Rockfin only streams. And that's going to be really good for us because we can talk about things on there that we can't talk about on here. Just the reality of the situation. But there's also Rumble. I don't know if TikTok is the best place for this because it's short clips, but yeah. Is this the normal Sabby show? Hey, Laura. This is the Sabby Sab show on FHL. Tonight at 8 o'clock, you guys can catch me on my channel, which is Sabby Sabs. And I'm going to have on Rob Durden. Some of you are familiar with him from Political Fight Club, and Lucy from Blue Moon Red Wine. And we are going to talk about cringe takes on the left. In fact, do I have that here? Let me see something. I'll show you what we're going to talk about. Oh, that's Joe Biden. Go away. I don't want you there. Why you keep popping up on my screen? Sorry. Talking to the TV, not you guys. The computer, not you guys. All right. This is what we're going to be talking about tonight. This should be a pretty good discussion because Rob and Lucy have some interesting things to say about some of the people that I was just telling you about. We're going to go further into that tonight. So tonight I am talking about cringe takes on the left. We're going to do this whole TYT crowd. And we have clips and things that we're going to show about how they continue to keep people in the Democratic Party. And we're going to talk about the sense of urgency and the difference between how urgent things are for you when you're wealthy and you don't need it, and how urgent things are when you're not wealthy and you do need it. Everybody on this picture is wealthy. Keep that in mind. Let me pop out. All right, it is 7:01. It is time for me to go. All right, thanks for the super chat, Odd Kid. Sabby, please continue with your efforts in FHL podcast. Truly would like to have your mics become louder. I need to get a new microphone, I know. But I think you mean it in the other way too. But thanks so much for the super chat. Guys, I'm out. It's Friday. You can catch me on my channel at 8 o'clock with Rob and Lucy if you want to do that. Other than that, have a good night. Keep up the fight.